Hi, I'm Harold Jarkey, and I'd like to talk about how the internet has changed the way in which organizations have to work. Now, some people would say that the internet hasn't really changed anything, and others would say that the internet has changed everything. Well, let me give you a couple of examples. About a year or so ago, there was a musician whose guitar was damaged quite severely by the baggage handlers at United Airlines. He recorded actually 3 videos on YouTube. The first one, called United Breaks Guitars, as you can see here, is that it's already had 9, almost 10 million views. This series of videos went viral and actually affected United Airlines stock price. Just imagine this before the internet. Could one musician based in Halifax, Nova Scotia, be able to affect the stock price of a large corporation? Look at WikiLeaks. It's a very small organization spread around the world, includes activists and computer hackers and computer programmers, some politicians, and they have been able to influence the major powers, major countries, the Foreign Service of the United States, and has everybody running in circles. Imagine this before the internet. What the internet has done is enabled us to be connected in many different ways. This right here is a map that shows relationships between a number of my friends on Twitter taken a few years ago, and the paths of how tweets and different relationships go back and forth. Rather complex. That's what happens when we connect everybody to everybody else, is that we create a highly complex adaptive system that is very difficult for anybody to actually understand or to analyze, and it requires different tools from what we've been using traditionally in our industrial organizations. When we think of work, so work is no longer in a place. Work now is anywhere. Work is connected with play, and work is anytime, and work is with anybody, and work today in many ways is not what our grandparents would have even considered work. What's happening is that work that is relatively simple is being automated. For instance, these automated teller machines here. Work that is complicated, that means that work which can be analyzed, broken down into its components, processes developed, good practices developed, is being outsourced to the lowest labor market. For the developed world, that means that we have to focus on either creative work or complex work. In a creative economy, the older attributes of obedience, diligence, and intellect are basically commodities, and what's important today are attributes such as initiative, creativity, and passion. And these are attributes that cannot be commoditized, that cannot be trained in a 3-day training program, and off you go and you have passion, creativity, and initiative. Albert Einstein identified this many years ago. Imagination is more important than knowledge. We have to focus on creating and innovating if we want to succeed in our businesses today. The way in which we share that passion, initiative, and creativity, and we share tacit knowledge, is through conversation. And what's important is to have better and deeper conversations so that we can learn from each other. The internet is an excellent platform for having conversations, as this diagram here by Brian Solis shows, is that there are many different ways of having conversations, or what he calls the art of listening, learning, and sharing, which flips the model of the schoolhouse in which you have one person teaching a course, all the knowledge is there, and it is delivered. The internet gives us ways in which we can connect in multiple ways to multiple people, so that it becomes more important not just what we know, but who we know, and that the more people we know, the more things that we can do. The traditional company hierarchy is ill-suited to support these kinds of socializations and conversations. In many ways, traditional company hierarchies actually stifle conversation. So what's necessary is to invert the management pyramid and put management at the bottom, workers at the top, and management's role changes to supporting the workers. The network model that I've developed is one in which the workers focus on collaborative work facilitated by social learning. As they do the work, they develop next practices. Management helps them with that and helps to develop the tools and processes necessary to continue that kind of work. So the role of management, the role of traditional training departments, is connecting and communicating. And that, in the 21st century, I think is the way that successful businesses, successful organizations are going to be structured.